So I like to call myself an aspiring cat lady. Aspiring because I don't actually have a cat, but I like really identify with someone who has one. Like I love taking naps, I love being on my own, like eating snacks all the time, like I'm obsessed with cat memes, like just all of it. But I don't have a cat. I've always wanted a pet since I was a kid. My brother and I both did. We were very into them, but our parents not so much. Dogs were kind of out of the question. As Muslims, it's kind of tricky to have dogs because they're considered unclean in the area that you want to pray in. Just creates a lot of problems. But I feel like cats, like that should have been an easy one to win them over. They're just quiet. They do their own thing. They're more clean. So I was like on a mission to like convince my parents to let me have a cat. I went to the library as a kid and read like all the books about cats to like prove to them that like I'm ready for this responsibility, but that didn't work on them. Then I tried to get them with what I learned in Islamic school about how like the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions loved cats. I was like, wow, like instant heaven points, like this is gonna be great, you know, like we're gonna take care of God's creatures, but that also did not really help. But then when I was in first grade, we had a class pet. It was a hamster named Oreo. And I was obsessed with this hamster, and every weekend, one of the kids in the class got to check out Oreo and take her home for the weekend, and then bring her back on Monday. So I thought, oh, this is gonna be it. This is how I'm gonna show my parents that like having a pet is just so much fun and that I'm so ready for it. So I begged and begged my parents if we could take Oreo home for the weekend. And I told my mom, like, we have this hamster, it's gonna be so great. And she's like, a hamster? Like a rat? You want us to bring a rat at home? And I'm like, no, it's not the same thing. They're totally different. But thankfully, my dad was okay with it. I think he probably thought it's just for a weekend. Like, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? So we bring Oreo home, and we have all of her supplies, her food, her little hamster ball, and I'm like thrilled. I'm like, this is about to be the best weekend ever with this little hamster. So my brother and I are like building all these Lego structures for her to like roll around in her hamster ball. Like it was great. We were having the time of our life. But then at a certain point I was like, this is just not it. Like I'm still not there yet with this pet because she's in a hamster ball. You know, we were told to like make sure if she's out that like she's in her ball. And I was like, I want to hold her. I want to hold her next to me, you know, like get all up in her little fur, you know, and hug her. That's what I want. So I decided, I think it's time to take her out of her hamster ball. So we're sitting and watching TV. I have Oreo in my lap, and I'm like, wow, this is great. I've made it. This is like what I dreamed of. But after a little bit, I noticed that my hands feel light. And then I look down, and I realize my lap is empty. Oreo is not there anymore. And I look at my brother, and I'm like, don't say anything. I didn't want my dad to know what had just happened. I was like, we're gonna find her. We're gonna just make, oh my God, like what are my parents gonna say? What are the kids at school gonna say when they find out that I'm the one that killed our class pet? I was freaking out. So we're like looking everywhere because she's like this tiny little thing, and I'm like, what have I done? What have I done? If I can't handle a hamster, how am I gonna handle a cat? Like my life is over. But eventually my dad notices there's a lot of commotion happening in the living room, and so he helps us. And we realize that the poor thing is like scrunched in between, like and stuck between like a wall and a corner and the sofa. So we had to like move the sofa for her, and she's like shivering, and like, oh, I felt so bad. And like after that, like she basically just stayed in her cage, and you know, it was a rather uneventful weekend for the rest of the time. But she was safe. We took her back. Everything's, you know, she's good. She was fine. But I was pretty traumatized. I was pretty scared. And so after that, I was like, oh my God, like maybe I'm like not meant to have a cat. Maybe I'm not meant to have any type of animal. But obviously, you know, it was a mistake. I was a kid. And as I got older, that desire to have a pet still was there. And I always wanted one. But I was like, maybe it's not the right time, or like maybe you're just not good enough. But especially in this last year with the pandemic, you know, spending a lot more time at home. And I think a lot of people have been thinking about, like, what's the kind of life we want to have? Like, what are the things that we always wanted and we kind of just, like, cast aside and never got around to? And there was still in the back of my head that idea that, like, well, I don't know, maybe my parents are right, and, like, maybe I shouldn't have a pet. It really does change your life. And I don't know, maybe it's too much to be attached to something, you know? But I realized that it's okay to decide things that are different. It's okay to decide that something is worth the time and energy for you if it really makes you happy. And so I'm happy to share that last week I got accepted into a fostering program at a local animal shelter. So I am now one step closer to being a real cat lady.
Yeah.